What does BLO and FLO mean? Wait, and there's a third loop? Hold on. And now there's a back bump on my chain? What? Yeah, I got you. Welcome back, my beaches and bros. Kristen here with Enchanted Yarnworks. Yep, I know, so many different new things. Today, I got you covered again. We're going to do a bonus video discussing all of those front loop, back loop, third loop, back bump, top loop, bottom loop, what? Stuff, okay? Don't fret. So make sure you're subscribed, that notification bell's dinged, and hang out with me today. And we'll get this all squared away so that we're ready to go for our next big adventure with our basic Beaches and Bros beginner tutorial. Alrighty, basic Beaches and Bros. Today we are going to talk about stitch anatomy. So, figured since next week we're going to be starting our first project, which is a pumpkin. Woohoo! I realized I hadn't, and there's some ways that we stitch this pumpkin that I realized I hadn't talked about the different parts of the stitch yet, and I really didn't want to confuse you and just be like, this is where you're going to crochet your stitches and what part of the stitch and blah, blah, blah. And then you'd be like, what? So today you get an extra bonus video and we're going to talk about the parts of the stitches and how things turn out when you work in different areas. So again, through this whole tutorial, we are still using our 8mm Susan Bates crochet hook. It's an inline hook. So it's completely straight all the way down through the neck and the head of the hook. And then we are continuing, we're at the end of this lovely little skein of loops and threads. Charisma Heathers. This is color Blush Heather. We're at the end of it, but have no fear. There's more here. Okay, so, and I'm going to also, to save us some time, I'm also going to bring back our double crochet and our half double crochet swatches so that I can use those to show you what's what a little bit easier, rather than us spending 20 minutes with me, crocheting a whole new swatch. So to get started, we're going to start with the basics. I mean, we've already talked about the basics of chaining, absolutely, but we haven't discussed the loops of the chain. And that's kind of important here because working in different loops in the parts of said stitch or chain gives you a little bit different outcome. So this is what we're going to kind of start with. And then I'm going to build into it in this video on the different loops of your single crochet stitch and the different loops of our half double crochet stitch. And of course the different loops of our double crochet stitch, because those are the stitches that we've learned. And that is what we're going to do. So without further ado, I'm going to start with some chains. You know what? We'll just keep it consistent like we've been doing. And I will do 11 chains to make a 10 stitch wide swatch. Okay. So again, if we need, let me zoom in a little bit more. If we need a little bit of a refresher on chaining, again, this is how I hold my yarn most of the time. Sometimes when I get with the bulky, I will actually do this a little bit. I realized I started doing that recently. So to be fair, because sometimes this can get tight, but I always start this way and then we'll see where it turns out. But it is quite loose. I don't know if you can kind of see how loose it is. So, okay, we're chaining 11. So what we're doing, we made our slip knot, which I probably didn't show you again. Now, my slip knots are different. Remember, I just push down, loop around, and then yarn over and pull through. That is my slip knot. I think it's the easiest slip knot I can figure out how to do. So chaining, we yarn over, hook that yarn and just pull through. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in so we can talk about this a little bit better. Might have to do some adjusting of camera, or just myself. Okay, so pull this guy over just a little bit. All right, so we have on this front side, we have what we call the, let me get my needle, that'll make it easier and less cumbersome. Okay, we have 2 loops. We have this loop and we have this loop. Okay, this loop right here is called our top loop, and this one is our bottom loop. Now, most of the time, whenever we start and get going, usually we just go back down our chain for our foundation row and we go in our top loop. Okay, there are times, and some people, myself included, there's also a loop back here on the back side. You can see it right there. Okay, so this right here is the back of the top loop from the other side. This is the back of the bottom loop from the other side right here. This is the back bump. Okay, so let me turn it to the side a little bit and you can see there's the bump. Top loop, bottom loop, back bump. Does that make sense? So when you single crochet or whatever stitch you're using into any of these different loop/bumps, it gives you a different result. So you know here what we've done with our previous swatches. This I worked in the top bump, okay, or the back bump, top bump, sorry, which is right here. You can see now the bottom bump, loop. These are loops. Sorry, this bottom one is same as this bottom one. Okay, now poking out the back side here somewhere, these pop out as your back bumps, but it's hard to tell because we've already pulled a loop from that. So this is the edge that you're going to get when you are working in that top loop. Okay, if you can kind of tell, it's just kind of like a little weave back and forth. Now let me show you what you get when you work in the back bumps. This is my preferred method for most of projects that I do. And the reason for that is because we're going to get this flat edge that we see right here. I'm sorry, that was not even in camera. We are going to get this flat edge that we see right here. It's going to stay. So that's going to be there at the bottom, opposed to this one, which is a little wavier. But let me go ahead and work this up so that you can see it. So we're single crocheting. So it's the same process as second from the hook, third from the hook, etc. This would be our second. This would be our second from the hook back loop, top loop. Okay, this is our first from the hook top loop. Flipping that over, try to hold this so you can see it in a way that you would have it in front of you. This right here is our first from the hook back bump. So this one is our second from the hook back bump. So that is where we're going to be working. Okay, so single crocheting into that. We need a refresher on single crochet. We just go into the bump or loop, yarn over, pull through, Make sure there's 2 on the hook. Make sure you have your loops down here on the shaft part of your hook, not up here in the head where it can get tighter, because this area is that technically is smaller and that loop can get tight and then you're like fighting it. So don't do that. Yarn over and pull through 2. Okay. Going to continue that process all the way down. Oops. I'm sorry about my camera placement. I feel like I'm centered and then I look up and it's not. Okay, we have 2 more. Okay, so then this is our last one, and it is literally right before our slip knot. Okay, so there we go. And this is our first row using back bumps only. So I like it because you see on our top, we have that nice flat edge. And then the bottom, it's mirrored. So you get the same end beginning style. That is what I like about the back bump. Okay. So I think I'll just, I'm gonna cut that off and save that as a reference. So let me just pull this through, get my scissors. Okay, so here's our back bump. There it is again, I'm so sorry. Okay, so if you notice it's kind of doing this little curly thing, that is because my chain is a little bit tighter than my single crochet stitches. So if you remember in our first video with single crochet, I did talk about make sure your chain is a little looser than you would think, or use a larger hook, because this is exactly what will happen. I did this single crochet much looser than I did the chain. So that's why it's doing a little curly thing, which it's okay. It works itself out sometimes depending on how tight that chain is. This one's not too off, so it'll work itself out. If I were to build upon it, it would be even better. So, all right, let me put that aside. Okay, so our next starting option, which I'll be honest with you, these first 2 that I just showed you are the ones that I've done. And I have never heard of this other one. I did some research because I wanted to make sure I was giving you proper information, as much information as I can. So I didn't want to leave something out. Oops, sorry. So this one I have actually never heard of. So when I saw it, I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. This one works in the back bump and that back loop. So let me do my chain real quick. I'm gonna do a little bit looser. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yarn's getting caught. And 11. Okay, so this one, we are turning it over because we are working in our back with the back bumps. But this one has us going through what it says, the back bump and the back loop together. So we are leaving this one out down here, and we are going between using these 2 technically on the top, because if you have this held this way, they are the top loops. So that is what we're going to work in. And yep, I have never done this one before. I had never seen this one before. So I'm definitely interested in seeing how this looks right now. So yes, I do have knowledge about crochet, but you know, a lot of knowledge that we gain is based upon what we were taught by a family member or a friend, you know, whomever taught us crochet, or by hit or miss by doing as you go. So a lot of my knowledge is those two things, and never ever have I done a pattern that called for these two loops to be used in my foundation. So hence I'd never seen this before. So yes, I like to do some research before I come on here and teach you things, because I want to teach you things that I don't know either. So we both get to learn together in some cases. Okay, so there is our row of 10. So, okay. So what I'm seeing as a difference is we just have one little chain loop down here left over, whereas when we use the back bump, we have both chains down there on the base. Okay, so you see, I feel that, well, maybe not. I was gonna say, I feel like this one has more of a stretch to it and it's not so tight. I can see how this one could get really tight because you're pulling two of those loops, which gives you less opportunity for flexibility. That is different for sure. Curious how you would. I didn't research that far to know how you would what you would use this application for. And then let me go back to the other one where we just use the top, where you just have kind of a looser base, as you see there, and you just use that one loop on top, opposed to leaving one loop on bottom. So these two are generally opposites. So, okay, so there is that for these two for our startings. So next up, I want to go into the stitches, and I'm going to continue building on this one for that, just because I've cut that one off and these two are already done in here. But I'm going to do single crochets, and we're going to talk about different ways to crochet into. So yes, what I've shown you thus far is you are just working through both of these loops, okay? Top loops right here. That's what we've done for all of these swatches. That's what I've shown you. There is also, which next week when we do our pumpkins, we are going to be working in the back loop, which is this one here, okay? So you have your both loops, you have your front loop, just like with our foundation chain, front loop and back loop. Now, front loop is always, regardless of where you've turned, front loop is always the loop that is closest to you, okay? And back loop is always the loop that is farthest from you. Now, when you work in these, it gives you different textures as you go. So let me work one row of back loop, because guess what? We're going to do back loop next week. Okay. Actually, I'm kind of just going to do half a row, and then I'm going to do the other half with front loop. Okay. So far, here's our back loop, and you can see it's giving this nice little ridge here. And if we look on the other side, we get like an indentation there, and it kind of makes it wavy. Now I'm going to do front loop for the rest of this row. That leaves our back loop all by itself. Okie dokie. So there's the end of that with just front loops. So here a front loop. Now you would, generally speaking, you could say it's pretty much the opposite, because it kind of is, but it depends on where you're working it, because you see here, the opposite of our front loop, we have such an indentation in there. You can kind of see that as I turn this to the side, right? But conversely, over here on this side, this would be the equivalent of the opposite of this, right? But it's kind of straight. And that's because this is the back side of our previous row. So it makes it a little bit different. Now turn this around. Actually, let me not turn around yet. But as we saw working back loop, we get that ridge, right? Now let's turn it around. This side would seem to be back loop, right? But it's still pretty flat. You don't get the ridge, but you still get the nice loops in the front there. I don't know if you can kind of see the differences here. Regardless, you're still getting a texture, something that's different. So with that being said, let me do another row of just regular both loop crochet, single crochet, because I do want to show you the anatomy of the single crochet stitch other than the 2 loops there. Okay, this way it'll help you determine which side of right side or wrong side you are of your stitch. And then we will go into some different things with half double crochet and the double crochet stitches. Whoops. Okay. Okay, so the front side or the right side of our single crochet stitch, you're going to see more or less kind of this V shape here. I don't know if you can kind of tell. And that goes directly into the stitch below. On the other side, you have an upside down V shape. Well, what I first see is the upside down V shape. Okay. But if you're going to go and look at it as far as going into the stitch below space, yes, you do have a V shape, but it looks like 2 separate stitches. Because up here, you have a gap and you have these loops up here. But this is gapping between those 2 loops, okay? So I don't know if you can tell the difference with that in the camera. Kind of hope so. And then this is the right side. You only have 1 cross loop on the right side of your work. This is your cross loop, which is your front loop. On the wrong side, you have 2 horizontal loops. Okay, which if you're looking at it from this side, that's your back loop. But if you're working this way, this is a front loop. So you have 2 horizontal loops when you're on the wrong side of your work, and you have 1 horizontal when you're on the right side. Does that make sense? If you're confused, please comment down below. Let me know. I'm all about explaining and helping you understand. Okay. Now next, let's go into our half double crochets. So I'm just going to focus on this top so that we don't get lost in the mix of all this. Okay. So with our half double crochets, you know, that was our yarn over. We have 3 loops on our hook. Let me just kind of do it a little bit over here. So we have our yarn over, and then we go in, and then we have our 3 loops on the hook, right? And then our yarn over and pull through all 3. That is our half double crochet. Okay. So here we have that going on. So if we look at this stitch and we take this bit off and don't look at this above here, this looks just like our single crochet, doesn't it? We have our horizontal stitch and we have our V stitch, but we did a half double, which means we added a little bit more to the top. So there's our horizontal stitch, and then we have our front loop. This is on the right side of our stitch. Now, if we flip that over, here you see we have our V's, then we have our horizontal stitch, we have our now front loop, then we have this other loop right here. This is called the third loop, okay? So with that being said, in any pattern, if you're going to calls for working in the third loop, what you would do is you would fold this down just a little bit to come and look at it from the top, and you would work straight into this loop right here. You would leave your front loop forward, your back loop forward, and you would go straight into this third loop. And I actually have a little bit of a swatch here that I've started, and I'm going to show you all about it really quick like. Okay, so let me show you where the third loop is on these stitches. Okay, so as you're looking at the back side, so this is the front side of your half double crochets. This below is the back side. So as we're looking at those, you will see here we have a stitch here, a loop I mean, and then you have this loop here, which you don't see it on this side. So let me flip over so you can kind of see it from the other side. It's back here. It's way back there. You can't really see it. It's not in the front. You don't see it here. But if I separate the front of this and look back, there it is, way back there. So that is our third loop, which when you're working right side, you see it on the back. But if you flip this over and you're working back and the wrong side is below you, it's in the front. Okay, so that can be confusing. But so if you were to, let me finish this row off actually to show you. So if you were to work back in the third loop, you would work it here in the front if you're going back the other way, like so, okay? And this is how it would go. And I'll show you what it gives you at the end of that. It kind of turns, not kind of, it does. Instead of just a ridge that you're getting with back loops, like you see through all of this, you get a flat side on the wrong side. But on the other side, what happens is it throws those top two loops facing towards you, and you get a whole ridge here of loops, which is definitely different. So see, you have these like bumpy loop ridges, but then here you have both loops on top facing you. So this whole top has been moved forward to look at you like that. So I hope that makes sense for that third loop. But correction, I know earlier in this video, I said next week's video is going to be working back loop, half double crochet in the third loop. No, I meant to say half double crochet in the back loop. That's what I meant to say. So next week, get ready for some pumpkins, and we are working back loop only. Abbreviated, that is BLO. So that is with your half double crochets. Now with your double crochets, you have, make sure I've got my fronts and my backs. Okay, yes, this is my fronts. So here's our double crochet. We have our V's here, and we have two horizontals down here, and then we have our front loop. But with our double crochets and triple crochets and anything greater than a half double, so doubles and up, you have what is called the post of your stitch, which is really just this whole thing here. It's the post. It's the height of the stitch, and that is, you can work around that. You can work a front loop or a front post. You can work a back post. We can go into that later. But That's what those things are called. Okay, regardless of which side you're working on, this is the post of your stitch. Okay, so I hope that was all this was a little helpful and understanding for you. Please, if you need to go back and rewatch any part of this to kind of practice, go right ahead. I highly suggest to get ready for Tuesday next week for our pumpkin pattern that you practice your double crochet and your single crochet. Send me messages if you have questions, if you're lost, confused, any of the above, or if you got the hang of it, let me know. I'm excited to hear back from you. So with that being said, let me go ahead and clean all this up and I'll see you in just a moment. Well, I hope that clarified a few things for you. I know it can get confusing. There's so many things, but the benefit of using those different loops is that you can expand the craft and you can make different textures, different designs in your work. And it's just not straight blanket or, a straight kind of fabric. And that's what we're going to build into with this tutorial over time. We're going to introduce new stitches and new ways of doing things so that you don't get bored. I know I get bored and I do a bunch of different stuff. Honestly, that's why I'm doing this for you guys, because I got bored, honestly. So anywho, thanks for hanging out with me today. Please make sure you're subscribed, that notification bell's dinged, and hit that like button to show me some love. I appreciate that tremendously. Next week, Tuesday, are you ready? I'm ready. We are going to take these yarns, maybe this one if you choose the darker color, and we're going to make one of these guys, your first project, first pattern. I'm excited for you. I hope you're excited. It's going to be okay. Don't freak out. I'm going to make it as simple as I can for you. And it's a learning process. It's not going to be perfect. It's okay. So any questions or comments, put them down below or send me direct messages to my Instagram or my Facebook. Those are linked in the description box. You can also find my email down there and you can go ahead and send me an email there too if you'd like. So again, thanks for hanging out with me today. I look forward to seeing you next week when we get to make our first pumpkin.